growing membership in your organization. Learning outcomes. How to identify potential student leaders. Discover the difference between inviting and recruiting. That's going to be very important. Discover the difference between a feature and benefit, and explore multiple strategies for increasing membership. Think about it. This is the time that you're going to want to, of course, pause the video and answer these questions. Why should someone join your organization? Why did you join your organization? What makes your organization unique? What's your organization's purpose? Why does it exist? And what does it do? And who is the ideal organization member? So think about those questions, answer them, and then continue to the next slide. Here are the benefits of growing your organization. Get opportunities to network. So the more people you have in your organization, the more networking opportunities you have, because you don't know who knows who. And so it could be a great benefit to your organization to have many people in your organization. It reduces your stress level. So, it takes the burden of only a few people doing some of the work. You can spread out a little bit more. It's easier to find new members. So the more members you have and the more things that you are getting accomplished, more people want to be a part of that. So it's easier for people to essentially start coming to you as opposed to you having to try to convince people to come to your meetings. It's easier to transition year to year, so you won't ever have that issue of, well, this organization will not continue because we don't have enough members. You get an opportunity to help more people, and that's really what it's all about. You're helping more people, and of course, you get more accomplished. But what are your reasons? What are your reasons? Take a moment to answer that question. What are your reasons for growing your organization? Membership attainment is like this. Growing your organization is a lot like sales. You are selling your product, which is your organization, to customers, which are potential student leaders, so that they can benefit from the services, events, leadership opportunities that your organization provides. So what a lot of people don't understand about being a student leader is also learning how to be a good salesperson. Invitation is a numbers game. Whenever you're trying to invite people to your organization, it's a numbers game. Let me explain this. 3% of people are active, and they're going to be open to the idea of you inviting them to a meeting. Just the 3%. 7% are going to be open to the idea of you inviting them to. Now, they might not necessarily say yes, but they're at least open to the idea. So that's your best chance. These 10 people right here. That's your best chance. Then you got another 30% who are aware for the future. So they may know that joining an organization will be a great way for them to get involved or to build their resume or whatever. So they understand that it's important to join an organization, but they might not necessarily be ready to do it right this moment. And then another 30% are unconscious altogether. So they have no clue what a student organization is, who you are, what your organization does, any of that stuff. They just are completely oblivious, as opposed to the other group, which they understand that there are student organizations they can join, but they're just maybe not ready to commit to it right now. These people have no concept whatsoever. And then, of course, you have your last group that is completely no. They may know about organizations, but they have no intention. So these might be your students who are clearly there just to go to school. They have so many other things happening in their life that they just don't want to join anything. So it's not even about you. It's about them. They don't care to join or anything. The reason why I bring these percentages up is because, yes, it is a numbers game. And I think a lot of times student leaders get a bit challenged and a little frustrated because they're going after the wrong percentage. So a lot of people are going after people that will never join their organization. You have to find the people who clearly want to be a part of your organization. And I'll talk to you a little bit about that shortly, of how do you get that 3%. So let's talk a little bit about membership attainment strategies. First and foremost, you have to utilize professors and staff members. Why? Because they have the commodity in which you want, which are the students. They have something that you want. You have to host quality events. So people will come to you when you host quality events. I've never heard of anybody on any level wanting to be a part of an organization that they feel don't really have it going on, or they're doing big things. Everyone wants to be part of success. Free food, of course. We all know that this is a great formula for bringing in people, but at the same time, just because you give away free food does not necessarily mean that people are going to come, and most importantly, that people are going to stay. So one strategy that I would suggest is that, yes, you advertise free food, but you let people know that the free food isn't going to be served until the end of the event, as opposed to putting it in the front. Because here's the two schools of thoughts to this. If you put the food out in the beginning, you're going to attract people that you necessarily wouldn't attract. But my argument would be, you're going to attract those people who just want to grab food and leave. But the people who really are interested in hearing what you have to say, you reward them at the end with food. And also, it allows you to have conversation with them about maybe what their program was just about, or their own schedules. So free food, I think, should be delayed until the end of the event, but that's just my opinion. Always promote your organization. So no matter where you are, you have to promote your organization. You cannot not talk about your organization. You talk about it in class, you talk about it at lunch, you talk about it in different places. Now, don't be overzealous with it. Of course not, because after a while, people will get tired of what you have to say, but you have to be a evangelist, if you will, for your organization. You have to be a constant promoter. I think you have to be the envy of the school. And what I mean by that is, your organization has to become the type of organization that people want to be a part of. Like, for example, some organizations are predicated on the fact that here is an organization that the cool kids are a part of, the popular kids are a part of. And so they become the organization that people want to be a part of, because there is a perception that the cool kids are a part of this organization. Now, sometimes people will say, you know what, I don't want to be a part of that crowd. I want to do my own thing. So they create their own group where they're kind of like the outsiders. But whatever the case may be, I think when you create an organization whose culture is about people being the envy of the school in a good way, I think it indulges people and makes people, want to be part of the organization. And we see a good example of this a lot of times with fraternities and sororities. Now, not every fraternity and sorority does this well, but a lot of them do. And that's why they're able to get the type of members and keep membership each and every year. Utilizing social media, but you have to TTP. What does TTP means? Talk to people. So yes, use social media. Use Twitter. Use Instagram. Use whatever form of social media you have at your disposal, but don't forget to talk to people, because that is, by all accounts, the one way that we've communicated for thousands and thousands of years. So we can't lose that human touch. And then invite members before, during, and after events. So you invite them to come to the event. The people who are at the event, tell them, hey, please come to our next event. And after that event is over, once you collect their information, this is very important. Once you collect their information, you invite them again. I think you have to change the language as well. I talk a little bit about this in some of my own presentations I've done of this presentation live, and I talk about invitation versus recruiting. When I say the word recruit, how do you feel? How do you feel? Take a moment to answer that question. And when I say I want to invite you, how do you feel about that? And obviously the difference between the two is just in that language. When I'm inviting someone to an organization or to an event, it makes them feel special. It adds this exclusiveness about the event, but also about me, because I'm not trying to recruit you to come. Recruiting seem like to me deals with numbers. Now, value, the measure of every organization. Let's talk a little bit about that. Everyone listens to the same station, which is WIIFM, which is what's in it for me. Everyone wants to know what's in it for me. What do I get out of this? And you have to offer value. Otherwise, no one's going to want to be a part of your organization, period. Because people understand that their time is valuable and they rather be doing something else that's going to benefit them. So it's all about finding what that value is, connecting with people, figuring out what they value. And how to determine the value of your organization. That's very easy to do. You have to decide, if your organization was around, who would fill that space. So another way for me to put it is, what does your organization do differently than other organizations? What value do you give? What niche do you fill? What void do you fill on your campus? So why do students join student organizations? There's a lot of different reasons. This does have to deal with value because we're talking about people's motivation for why they do things. People join student organizations because of maybe family and friends, their recommendations, or just the fact that they have family or friends in this organization, so they want to be a part of it. They join because of the organization's reputation. So maybe they have a great reputation. Now that can be flipped to the other thing too. If they have a bad reputation, that might be the reason why they don't join an organization. But we'll talk a little bit about that later. They join student organizations because it's good for their resume. People are looking for more valuable ways to build their resume so that they can be more impressive and stand out. People join organizations because they genuinely want to contribute to the campus. They want to make the campus a better place. People or students join student organizations for the experience. So maybe they want to get experience in helping to organize a particular event or to be a part of a particular cause. Or maybe they just want to go on a trip. Who knows? But there are many other benefits for why students join student organizations. And think back to yourself, why did you join your student organization? So some people may have the same reasons why you joined your student organization. So keep that in mind. So conversely, why students don't join student organizations. So why don't they join? Schedule conflict. I think this is the number one reason why people don't join organizations, because they just can't fit in their schedule. And if this isn't the number one reason, this is definitely a close second. People don't understand the value. Again, going back to understanding what your organization does. And we're going to go into a little bit more detail about that with features and benefits in a second. But you have to get them to understand the value of your organization, because when you don't, people are not going to want to join the organization. And as paid as this may sound, some people don't join organizations because they dislike the members. There was one particular organization in undergrad I did not join because I didn't like some of the members. Call me petty, call me whatever, but that's important to me. I want to enjoy the company of the people within the organization that I choose to join. Some people don't join organizations because of the history or reputation. And this goes into a lot of different things, but ultimately, people don't want to be associated with certain things. So that's something to consider. And then people have other interests. So maybe your organization isn't the one for them. They have other things that they're trying to do. So understanding why people join and why people don't join is going to be very significant to your ability to be able to invite people to your meetings and get them to join your organization. Okay. As promised, we're going to talk a little bit about features versus benefits. So, and this is the time you probably going to want to pause the video a bit to answer some of these questions. So the first question is, what is a feature? What is a benefit? And what's your dream car? And I'm going to go to the dream car thing in just a second. But I want you to go ahead and do your best to answer those questions. So pause the video, answer these questions, and we will come back to it. Okay, the reason why I ask you about your dream car is because oftentimes when I've done this presentation in the past, I've asked people what type of car they drive. And they'll kind of tell me I drive this type of car, and they don't seem that ecstatic about it. But then when I ask them the question, what's your dream car, their whole demeanor completely changes. They can rattle off what they love about the car, everything about this car, and their whole psychology or physiology changes with this particular description of this car. And I think with your organization, you have to be that excited about your organization. So let's go into a little bit more detail about features versus benefits. A feature is a characteristic of your product that describes its appearance, its components, and its capabilities. So for example, my dream car, that should be car, has stain-proof leather seats, a sunroof, it's red, and great on mileage. Those are some of the features that this car has. So in other words, a feature is what it is. What it is. Now, a benefit, on the other hand, is an advantage or value that your product will offer. An advantage or value. So my dream car will save me money on gas and will save me money on the car detailing bills. So for example, it has to give you a certain desirable outcome that you're looking for that's going to ultimately benefit you in the short run or even long run. A benefit is what does it do for me? What it does for me. So when you look at the difference between the two, now let me put this in the context of your organization. What is your organization's main feature? What's your main feature? We represent blank students. So we may represent the African American community. We may represent the students who love, I don't know, computers, whatever the case may be. That's your feature. That's who you're sort of going after. That's who you target. And also in a feature would be, we are responsible for the blank each year. So your organization may be responsible for the diversity food festival every year, the futuristic fashion show. You may be responsible for the American Idol on your campus. Whatever. You have a signature event that you're noted for. That's your feature. Now your benefit could be, hey, if you join this organization, if you join the Young Republicans, this looks outstanding on your resume. The other benefit may be, if you join this organization, you have easier access to this particular community. So by virtue of you being a part of this organization, you have easier access to certain people. Now, not to get off subject, but this is totally relevant. I've known guys to join certain organizations because they knew that there are more women in the organization. They wanted to find a girlfriend. So that was their benefit. Um, and of course, students who are members of our organization are given blank each year. So maybe you get a particular trip this year. Maybe you're getting a monetary benefit. Maybe you get the benefit of meeting a famed celebrity or speaker when they come to your campus. Whatever the case may be, the point is this. This is the point. You have to be clear within your organization what your features and benefits are. And I hope that I've cleared this up a bit. But I want you to take an opportunity to pause the video, and I want you to be able to explain what the features are of your organization, what the feature is of your organization, and what are your main benefits. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the invitation. And what is the invitation? That's when you have the conversation with someone of, hey, trying to get them to join your organization. So here's the process that is, you cannot fail this process. And by the way, if a person doesn't join, it isn't because this isn't work, it's because they're just really not interested. Period. So the first thing is you have to ask questions. You have to ask the type of questions that are not necessarily in relationship to your organization, not in the beginning, but you just have to ask the type of questions that show that you're interested in them. So if this person is in your class, you may ask them a question of, how did you do on that exam? Or what do you think about what we talked about today? Or you may ask them the question of, so, what are you doing later on? Whatever the case may be, you have to have leading questions that lead to you gathering the intelligence. And intelligence is trying to figure out exactly what it is that you need to know in order for them to be interested in the organization. Period. So by gathering certain levels of intelligence, you're going to find out very quickly if this person is indeed interested in your organization. And then the third step is you have to build a irresistible, logical, and emotional case for your event organization. Now, I did get this a little bit from the movie The Wolf of Wall Street. It's his system, the guy who they based the movie on, Jordan Bedford, I believe that's his name. But you have to build an irresistible, logical, and emotional case for your event or your organization. So in other words, you have to come to this event. If you don't come to this event, you are missing out on something great that will definitely benefit you. Again, that word benefit you in the short run as well as possibly in the long run. Number 4, you have to get the student to love you, your organization, and the benefits of your organization. Now, this may not come until maybe after they've gone to the event or they've come to a few events. It just depends, but you have to get them to love you. You have to build a rapport. But at the same time, even with building rapport, you still have to give them what they want. And building rapport doesn't necessarily mean we have to find everything in common and talk about that all the time. I mean, that may be part of it, but you can't stay with that. You have to close, which is step number 5. You have to get them to join. Now, talking about retention and keeping people in the organization is a whole nother presentation, but this at least will get them closer to join your organization. And this is a system that you can put in place that will get people to want to be a part of your organization. And also, let me also say this, going back to what we said before, it's a numbers game. So with this, you are literally figuring out who is that 3% that we talked about earlier. So some people out of this, just in step number 2, you're going to find out who's who just by gathering intelligence. You're going to find out who is the people who are open to it, the people who are active, the people who are just flat out no, the people who are conscious, and anything else in between this. You're going to find this out by step number 2. So step number 2 is probably the most important piece, simply because There's no point in building an irresistible, logical, and emotional case for your event organization if you know that this person does not have the time or desire to be part of your organization. But it's real quick. Okay. In the invitation, you can't forget that every battle is won before it's fought. That's an old saying by I believe, a Asian general. I forget his name at the moment, but every battle is won before it's fought, and that's really what it is. What it is. I mean, when you're gathering intelligence and you're asking the right questions, you're finding out what it is. Also, when you're putting a system in place, you're figuring out what it is. Now, these are the three stages in winning this battle. They have to love your service. They have to love the events that you put on and the things that you do in your organization. They have to trust and connect with you. So if someone trusts and connects you, you'll be willing to give them things. I mean, think about some of your close friends. The reason why you two are friends is because they trust you and they have connected with you on a deeper level. That's why they're your friends. But to take it a step further with this last stage is that they have to trust your organization. They have to trust the brand. And we all do trust brands. I mean, think about it. When you brush your teeth with a certain kind of toothpaste because you believe and you trust that particular brand. If you didn't trust that brand, you wouldn't be brushing your teeth with that particular toothpaste. So these are the things you have to do. They have to love your service. They have to trust and connect with you. And these things, by the way, will take a little bit of time. It's not going to happen overnight. But here's the thing. It's better to have a few committed members instead of having 1,000 uncommitted members. So this invitation is really about that. Other helpful ideas. When inviting, I want you to think about this. Throw social gatherings, not interest meetings. Because for one, again, going back to the language, social gatherings sound a lot better than an interest meeting. I've seen interest meeting flyers for different organizations, and my God, I got to tell you, who wants to attend those? You have to follow up to keep the connection. So if a person attends one of your meetings or one of your events, find a way to stay in touch with this person. Put them on a emailing list. Have them connect with your organization via social media. But most importantly, if you see this person is a classmate, or this person is hangs around in a certain lounge, you go and talk to them and find out how they're doing and how they felt about the organization. And another thing you can do is hold competition for a wanted skill. Now, this works very well for someone who may be like a graphic artist. Because I think, in my opinion, every organization needs a graphic artist or someone who can put together some really good marketing materials. So you hold a competition for that, and in the end, if that person wins, you give them a particular benefit or a particular reward, but then you extend invitation to that person to be part of your organization. And then last but not least, you got to continue to talk to people. Nothing replaces talking to people. Nothing will ever replace that. No amount of social media, no amount of emails. Talking to people is what counts the most. Sending out a monthly newsletter is going to be really important. Letting people know what are the happenings in your organization. Acquiring faculty and staff buy-in. Again, when I said this at the beginning, they have the commodity that you want. So maybe talking to your professor at the end of a class and saying, listen, can I make an announcement about my organization once a week? Or are there any students in your class that you feel like could benefit from my organization? And you can say the same thing to people who work in various offices. You can have a event called Bring a Friend Day, and you benefit the members who bring in the most friends. Maybe give them some type of gift, or not, but maybe it's just bragging rights. But you have a designated day where we say, you know what, we're going to do a Bring a Friend Day, which is like a membership drive, but you call it something Bring a Friend Day. And then you stay active. You got to continue to put things out there, because when you're putting things out there, people are paying attention and people are like, wow, how can we get this done? Or how can we be part of this event? And then you got to give member incentives, which are going back to what I was saying, membership and invitation drive. But giving, actually rewarding the member who brings the most. Here are the key points. To change the language, invite members instead of recruiting. We talked about that. Membership growth is a numbers game. It's all about the numbers. Not everyone is going to say yes to you. You may only get 1 out of 10, but at the end of the day, these people are certainly going to join if they're really interested, but you have to understand it's a numbers game. You have to know the difference between your features and benefits. You have to know what they are. You have to offer value, not promises. So don't tell people that, hey, we're the best organization and we do this and do that, and then when they show up, none of those things are happening within your organization. You have to provide great value. And you have to get to know what a potential member values. If their values line up with your organization's values, then that's great. That's usually a 3%. That's usually someone who will more than likely join your organization. But you won't know that unless you talk to them. So here are the action steps. So what are 3 resources in your environment that you have access to that can help you continue to help your organization grow? What are 2 colleagues that you can tap for support while striving to achieve this goal? And what is 1 action step you can take in the next week that's going to help you grow your organization? Well, guys, it's been fun. I want to thank you again for listening to another module. And please keep in mind that this is all a work in progress, but it can be achieved. That being said, thank you, and I'll catch you in the next module.